Hey, what's going on, guys? So today on Minute Man Preparedness, as in the thumbnail states, we're going to be talking about what I carry as a member of my church security team. Now, every church security team, public safety team, which is kind of the name we're transitioning over to, usher, safety team, whatever you want to call it, every church is going to be different, depending upon the pastoral staff, administration, state law, local ordinances, all these different insurance requirements. All of this is going to be very dependent upon your church, the state you live in, and things like that. Luckily, the state I live in, we're pretty much free and clear. We don't really have a lot of stringent, holding us down policies or laws holding us down. We're not really hamstringed in any manner. So first, I'm going to go over what we as a team are required to carry, and then I'll go over the extras. So obviously, we carry a firearm, and along with our sidearms, those of us, some of us carry rifles. That's when we're working parking lot detail. We'll have a rifle inside a vehicle. Now, along with our firearms, we qualify yearly, just like every other law enforcement agency that I know of, especially in my state. We have preset qualifications that have been planned out and set up, and really and honestly, our handgun and long gun qualifications are the same as or a little more stringent than what the state requires for law enforcement. We have a very tight guideline and setup when it comes to training, and especially with firearms qualifications. So we're just not a bunch of guys, myself being retired law enforcement and the several other retired guys we got in military and this and that. We're just not out there slinging guns around. We go through a qualification process every year. If you fail the qual, then, that's it. You're not on the team. We have a lot of other requirements also, probably a lot more stringent than a lot of other places do, but we've kind of been pushing for this because we want to be as professional as possible, knowledgeable, have a lot of planning, well thought out planning behind what we do. So along with the required sidearm, we have to carry at least one spare mag. Obviously, I carry two, and I also carry a 20-round AR mag on my belt. I don't have that right here right now, but when I'm in the vehicle, I have a kit, obviously, and so I have, multiple mags at my disposal, but I don't have that here right now. We're also required to carry a flashlight. Our tourniquet, have to carry a tourniquet on us. Mine's actually in this Eberlestock waist bag. I'll get into that in a moment. So I do have that with me. And we're required to carry our radio and our earpiece. Now, this radio is just for demonstration purposes only. We don't utilize FRS or GMRS radios. We have a more secure means of communications. I'm not going to show that radio, but we do have to have our radio and earpiece on us. There are several of us that carry OC spray that have been trained in the past and certified with OC. We are moving towards some training and moving people towards carrying OC, and they're actually probably going to be carrying the MK3 canister OC, which is a little large. That'll work in something like this. I carry the POM, which we've talked about this in the past. It's got the pocket clip. Slides in your pocket real easy. You can also throw it in there. I have an MK3 canister, actually several cans in the truck. But we're moving towards doing some training with that for the guys that have never dealt with that or been through that type of certification. But at the moment, this is not required, but I do carry OC spray because a less than lethal option is always a great thing to have, because as I've talked about in videos in the past, you can't solve everything with a firearm. Sometimes you need to utilize, verbal commands, presence, open hand techniques, and then you may need to utilize less than lethal. I also carry a 16-inch ass baton. You all have seen this before also in a past video, Less Than Lethal Options. Check that video out. Has the pocket clip, so it slides in my pocket. I actually have a pouch that this sits in from Safari Land. It sits tight on my waist so it doesn't stick out as much. But I also carry an ass baton. Now, days that I'm working the parking lot, I have a kit beside me, but a lot of times I'll also utilize some soft armor under my shirt, since the parking lot is the first place where you're probably going to have to deal with a situation or some type of engagement with somebody. If it's an active killer situation. So I have a heavy kit in the vehicle with me, but I also utilize soft armor under my shirt. And then on days, you know, big church days, Christmas, Easter, things like that, I'll wear this under my shirt just as a little extra precaution for myself, since those are big Christian holidays. I'm not going to show this, but we are moving towards a form of identification. Of course, me being retired law enforcement, I still have credentials, but they're retired credentials. But in an emergency situation, everyone on your team being able to pull out some form of identification, whether it's a badge or, you know, a lanyard with a ID tag on it that's, you know, highly visible, that states, you know, security, public safety, safety team, usher, something like that. That way, if there is an emergency situation in your church, yeah, you know, some of the congregation of members may know who you are, but if you have visitors there, a larger event, people aren't going to know who you are. So you need to be able to identify yourself to congregation, visitors, and, you know, first responders, law enforcement, fire, EMS, that are arriving on scene. You need to be able to identify yourself as being a good guy, being a member of the church, and being on that team. So we're moving towards identification for team members. Now, every time I go to church, I always have my Eberlestock bag with me. And inside of this bag, I have a pair of restraints, handcuffs. And I also have, and I've talked about this too on the one video dealing with active killer situations, a reflective lanyard. I can just pop the band off of this and throw it over. It's a sash. It's highly visible and reflective. It'll help people see me and possibly differentiate me as a good guy from the bad guy. Because obviously the bad guy is probably not going to be walking around with a lanyard trying to get everyone to look at him. Inside of my bag here, I carry a folder, which I always have a folder on me. And I took this somewhere else too, so I've got that amend to Sharpie. Watch the video on this. And then I have a tourniquet, packing gauze, and a compression bandage in here, along with some shears and gloves. So this acts as my IFAK, along with holding some extra items, my reflective sash and lanyard sash deal, some handcuffs, and if it's a day when it's a super hot day, because I'll wear a little bit of a bulkier button up to conceal this stuff on my belt. Some days if it's super hot out, you know, I'm not wearing a super bulky shirt, you know, I'll throw some of these items, you know, inside of the bag, you know, extra mag, things like that, to try to cut down on my waistline. But, you know, these are some of the things that we have to carry, and some extra things that I utilize while working on the public safety team at my church. Like I've stated, every church is going to be different depending upon the pastoral staff, administration, the congregational needs, the state you live in, jurisdiction, also the size of your congregation, you know, a lot of budgetary constraints. A lot of these things, sorry, my light just popped off there. A lot of these things will have a lot to do with the setup that you utilize for your public safety, security team, whatever you want to call it. but this is what I carry. And also, one last thing, the past few days, I've started writing a guide. It's going to take me a little bit. I'm pretty deep into it already, but I've started writing a guide for those that are looking to start a security or public safety team for their church, or if you already have a team and you're trying to remold that team. I'm working on a guide from starting from, the top all the way down, the very beginning stages all the way through. It's going to take me a little bit, but I'll let you all know when I have that completed, and I'll try to get it out somehow to those of you that are interested in that guide. But, I'll let you know when I'm done with that. But go ahead and cut this video. You all stay safe. Have a great day. And Minuteman is out.